Hey folks, welcome back to the channel and the continuation of our Gunsmith series, this time part 24, second to the last build, at least as of doing these videos. It is the SR-25. This is an expensive monster, but it does have some pretty good rewards that are going to offset that, and if you do it right, you might even be able to make a little bit of money. So let's not waste any more time and get right into the build. Okay, Gunsmith part 24, SR-25, obviously. It's got to have the same MG, MK3 handguard, KAC, PRS, QDC silencer, SE5 foregrip. It's got to be the black one. We'll talk about that in a sec. PRS Gen 3 buttstock, HK Ergo PSG1 pistol grip, a D-ball, tactical unit, fast fire 3 red dot on a 45-degree rail, 10-round magazine, and the big part, the FLIR thermal scope. Now, there's some pricey stuff in here. Good news is you're going to get 3 pipe wrenches and 2 filter absorbers out of it, which those are worth quite a bit. You're pushing like 600-700K in rewards, not including the 1,500 euros you get, which I have 1,700 because of the way my hideout stuff works, as well as a 30,000 XP, and unlocking part 25, which is worth all of it. Once you get to 25 and get that done, man, it's a big boon. And then it also unlocks the SE5 foregrips, which are currently like kind of the meta foregrips. They're really good to have, so it's good that you can get those unlocked. So let's get into the build. You can buy the SR-25 off of Peacekeeper right at loyalty level 3, I believe. Yeah, right here, loyalty level 3. Or get them from your scav case. I get tons of them. I have more of these than I know what to do with. So I'm going to go off of one of these that I've stripped down to keep it from taking up storage. And you can even use this standard flash suppressor. You don't have to get anything fancy. You don't have to use the expensive one. You can use this one right here. So let's get into the build. Turn on my checkboxes. Open part 24. And there you go. There is your build. Like the requirements aren't all that big of a deal because it pretty much spells out every single part you need. But using the little forward adapter, you are right up against the weight at 5.897 kilograms. So make sure there's no ammo in the mag or anything like that can push you over the top, as well as the 60 durability. So we'll get the rest of the parts. We'll talk about the FLIR in a sec. I have one in my inventory, so it's going to put it on there, and we'll talk about everything else, and then we'll talk about the FLIR and how you can get. There are a couple of ways you can get that. The big thing I want to point out, I don't know if it's a bug, I don't know what it is, the CMMG handguard doesn't matter. You can use the stock handguard on there. You also don't have to use this Magpul cantilever mount. You can use any of the others and you're fine. You're way over the ergo. So for example, they've got you'll see it on the build screen, I'll show you in a second, but you don't have to use these. But these are all your parts, you're all in. You have to buy the PSG1 pistol grip. You have to buy the Gen 3. Then you have to have the Fast Fire 3, as well as the 10-round mag. That's the other one. Oh, and then the suppressor. It's not buying the suppressor because I probably have one in my inventory. And the same thing with the D-ball. So we'll talk about that. Well, let me get the rest of these parts, and we'll talk about those two specifically, so that you know that you have to get them. We'll assemble it. It didn't grab the suppressor, which is interesting. It did grab the D-ball. So the D-ball, pretty straightforward, pretty cheap on the Flea. It's what you got to get. Goes on there. I was going to show you the other M-lock. So you can use either of these M-locks. So the 3 of them that are on there, or 3 of them that can go on there, you can use the offset, the regular 2.5, or this rail one, and you're good. Now, as far as the suppressor, like I said, you don't have to use anything different as far as the muzzle brake, which is nice because the other one's really expensive, but the suppressor itself is pretty pricey. Let me get into the suppressors here. You're talking $432 if you can get off the trader, or 70K, and that's because it's one of the meta suppressors right now. It's pretty expensive. We'll slap that on there because it wouldn't do it because it was in my inventory, and that is your Gunsmith Part 24 build. Now you have technically five, but 4 real ways to get a hold of the FLIR. The first and foremost, the easiest way is you can just buy it right off of Jaeger for 676,000 rubles. Next best way, and if anybody who's been around the channel knows, we'll pull up the Tarkov market. You have your 2 barters. Now the Jaeger one is loyalty level 3. The mechanic one is loyalty level 4. The mechanic one costs about 290,000. So it's a really cheap barter. It's a pretty good barter for getting this. Probably the cheapest way to get it. The Jaeger barter is now $1 million. So probably not the best way to get it, but if for some reason you can't do the mechanic barter, but you can still do this task, which I don't think there's any scenario where that happens, but just in case, the Jaeger barter's there. Or if you're doing it earlier in the wipe, like let's say when sugar's down around 15,000, you can see how much of a price change that is. It can actually be a pretty good barter when sugar isn't 90 or 100K, which I don't know that we've ever seen that in Tarkov before. Kind of crazy right now. After that, you can get it off of 2 different guns. First one is on Jaeger. This is one of the most popular. As you can see, it's sold out, but it's not super cheap. but it does give you the FLIR. It's 10 sprats, 10 aquamarines, and 10 squashes. Obviously, it depends on where you get your stuff, but it's looking like the price for this is right around 550 to maybe 600K to do this. To get a bunch of, I mean, you get a bunch of other parts that are useful as well, and the FLIR. And then the last way is on mechanic. This barter is only available after doing Psycho Sniper, though. It is on a AK-104, and right now it only costs about 450K, somewhere between there. Goes up and down. But that's with Vertex's being at 100K and RFIDs being at about 55K. So it could get a little bit cheaper if Vertexes go down, because they could go down to about 75K, which is not a bunch, but it's still there. It's behind Psycho Sniper, so a lot of people might not have access to that. Now, there is one more way to do it technically. There is a craft on the workbench, and I don't even have it unlocked because I don't have Lightkeeper yet. It is on the workbench level 3, but it requires you to finish the task provocation from Lightkeeper. And until you do that, not only is it not unlocked, you still have to do Lightkeeper tasks to get the come book and stuff like that. It is a little bit on the cheaper end. It's about 400 to 420K for the craft, but it does take 9 hours. And again, you have to be a bunch of other stuff done to even do the craft. So you're probably going to have the barters if you have this. All right, that's the FLIR out of the way. We can slap it on there. That is turning it in. So like I said, you get yourself 3 pipe wrenches and 2 filter absorbers, which you can sell. You just vendor the pipe wrenches, but sell the filter absorbers on the Flea and make a decent price. Collect your euros and then move on to part 25. But that's it for part 24. Hope it was helpful. Hope I actually gave you something useful out of this and made your day a little bit easier. Don't forget to hit that like button, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.